Well, today is Friday the 13th, and if you're wondering why so many superstitions around this day, we've been called in for some expert help. Joining us now is Gary Waite. He is Professor Emeritus of the History of University of New Brunswick, and good morning to you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, I think. I mean, who knows? I don't really know how I feel today. I would love to get your opinion first on how did Friday the 13th really begin? Is this something that's new or has been here for a very long time?
It's one of those superstitions that's actually not old. It wasn't a concern in ancient Rome, in the Middle Ages, in Europe. Most people would not have known, in fact, when Friday and the 13th came together. They didn't work on that kind of calendar. For most people didn't anyway. It was a church calendar. So really, it's only in the modern period that Friday and 13 could come together. 1907 seems to be the first real reference to it, when a guy named Thomas Lawson published a novel called Friday the 13th, in which a Wall Street broker caused a Wall Street panic on the Friday the 13th, and that started the whole thing. We think, and I see, yeah, don't walk under ladders. I think that's a good superstition that we have.
You know, Gary, I have to ask you, why is there so much negative connotation towards Friday the 13th? Like, what is it that people portray it to be a bad thing?
Well, there are two parts of it. There's Friday and there's 13. Friday was seen as a really sad day, simply because that was the day of the week that Jesus was crucified. And in the Middle Ages, a very Christian or Catholic world, everyone had to suffer something on that day. And what they suffered was giving up meat. For every Friday, you could not eat meat. All you could have is some, old stinky salted fish and vegetables and so on. And so Friday was associated with mourning, with unhappiness, with giving up. And remember, people had to work on Saturdays. There was no TGIF. Friday didn't even have that weekend connotation. It was a sad day. Good Friday was the worst.
Yeah, I have to ask you, because Valentine's Day is tomorrow, is there any correlation between love and Friday the 13th being so close together?
Well, it's a lot of it has to do with the numbers. 13 was an unfortunate number. 12 is a perfect number. Jesus had 12 disciples. Number 13 was Judas at the Last Supper, and so number 13 did have an old association with evil. St. Valentine's Day is one of those saints' days that I mentioned earlier. St. Valentine was a Christian martyr who apparently conducted wedding ceremonies for Roman soldiers who weren't otherwise allowed to get married. They were Christian, and so there's a tradition between Valentine. There are some churches in Europe, in Ireland, in France, that have bones of St. Valentine, and so there are festivals there. But I think that the one ceremony, the one thing that was most common in the Middle Ages was love magic. And one of the most common forms of love magic, if you want someone to fall in love with you, you take something from your body, such as hair or some particular bodily fluids, bake it into a pancake or a cake, and give it to the person you want to fall in love with you. As soon as he consumes it, he will fall in love with the intended. I'm happy we've given that up. I think chocolates are a much safer bet.
Chocolates and flowers, I think, are a better way to go. Okay, very quickly before we go, so are you a skeptic or a believer?
I'm a skeptic. You look at elevators. You get in an elevator. It has 12 and 14. We all know when you get off at 14, you're getting off at 13. It doesn't change the reality. No increase in accidents or unluck on the 13th. So I just regard it as another day.
From the man himself, Gary, really appreciate your time on this Friday the 13th. And all the luck will be with you this afternoon.
And to you.
Thanks, Gary.